Hello, I'm Thomas Carruthers.
I'm Jerry.
And today is the 7th film in our month of David Lynch. We have now taken a jump.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we haven't taken a jump. Which is first, Lost Highway or...
Lost Highway.
Lost
Highway,
Highway,
I think.
Yeah, Lost Highway before.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, where have we jumped? Because we're not doing this time Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, even though arguably it may be my favourite Lynch film.
Yeah, I mean, it's debatable.
We're skipping it for now because we are going to be doing all of Twin Peaks at a later date, and it needs to be in that world. No, we have already... Yes, we've already skipped Twin Peaks, but in between Wild at Heart and Lost Highway. Now, today is... We are huge Lynch fans, but every fan has their blind spots. This is a blind spot for both of us. We've finally filled it. I personally couldn't be happier to fill it.
Me too.
It was truly, truly delightful.
Oh.
This is The Straight Story.
This morning you fall and you can't get off the floor. That's your hips, Alvin. And you're going to have to use a walker now to get around.
No walker. I love a lightning storm.
Me too, Dad. Uncle Al, I had a stroke.
Rose, darling, I'm gonna go back on the road. And I've got to make this trip on my own. I've got to go see Lyle. I know you understand.
Alvin, you're gonna get blown off the road. That's what I'm afraid.
Mount Zion, Wisconsin? Why didn't you just take your car?
I don't have a driver's license.
That's 60 more miles of hills. That's across the Mississippi.
Which is based off a true story about a man named Alvin Straight, who the film is dedicated to, for he died within the year of the film's release. And he had a serious health attack. His brother, by some bizarre, well, not even bizarre, some cruel twist of fate, had a stroke at the same time. And he mowed, well, not mowing, but he drove on a mower for miles and miles and miles to be with his brother due to his lack of a driver's license, due to his eyes going, and litany of other health issues. And it's a truly, truly beautiful film. I do believe you're with me.
I'm having a little engine trouble.
You know, I'd be happy to drive you the rest of the way to Mount Zion.
I still want to finish this the way I started. And this trip is a hard swallow for my pride. I just hope I'm not too late. You've got two brothers that haven't spoken in 10 years. I want to make peace. I want to sit with him, look up at the stars, like we used to do so long ago. A brother's a brother.
Yes. Oh my God, I loved it. I put it off for ages, and then yesterday when I watched it from like the second you hear Badalamenti doing his music again, I was just immediately like, here we go.
Here we go. And I think I was putting it off because it was the Walt Disney of it all.
Yeah.
That even though I'd not heard a single story of bad dealings with Disney. Well, no, I've heard plenty of stories about bad dealings with Disney, but not with this film. No. I somehow got in my head, oh, they must have tinkered with it, you know, they must have. But no, it's this for me is I think is another pure Lynch piece.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
beautiful.
Yeah.
He calls it his most experimental film, which is obviously his own wry sensibility. And
Yeah.
I feel like it feels a bit like when John Waters made Hairspray, because obviously before Hairspray becomes this big musical phenomenon, it's a John Waters film. And John Waters, I love. You know, he makes Pink Flamingos, he makes Polyester, he makes, he makes Serial Mum After. And it's these, you know, pure filth movies filled.
Yeah.
There's a real scene of a drag queen, incredible legend divine eating dog shit. And so then when he made Hairspray, and it's this lovely nostalgic piece, again with its darkness about exploring race relations, but it's all nostalgia and it's kitschy and it's 50s. And the producers were just like, you're going to ruin your own career. You know, people are going to be wanting to watch this and they're going to be, what the hell is this? And I think in a way, it did get some Oscar recognition, but mainly for Richard Farnsworth's incredible central performance.
Oh my goodness.
And but it sort of was an outlier to the Lynch canon.
Yeah.
However, I think if I watched this in a vacuum and I had to guess a director, I would say David Lynch.
Me too. I think there was so much that reminded me of Twin Peaks: The Return in the way, especially the scenes in the trailer park. I mean, obviously there's the obvious link with Harry Dean Stanton, but even without that, I think it's just the way everyone treats each other is just kind and treats Alvin
very Dougie-like.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that as well.
This is just a vision of pure happiness that makes everybody around him better.
Yeah.
This is a different brand of that because he's not making terrible people better. He's just bumping into other nice people, and nobody questions it. You've got the four guys who are clearly maybe his friends in the original town, and they're like, "What the hell are you doing?" But apart from that, everybody's more than invested. Everybody just goes with it, and it is truly, truly, truly delightful. I thoroughly adored this film.
Me too.
Let's get into YouTube comments. Oh,
okay.
Here we go. Let's see what the kids are saying. Only a couple here, really. Imagine getting off your shift at Bob's Big Boy. You walk out the back door, and David Lynch is going through the garbage. That's just an anecdote he said in the interview.
Okay.
I was lifting these credits from. These are comments from a video because I usually take them from the trailer, but there weren't any comments on the trailer.
Right.
I just want to know one thing. How the hell does he get his hair to stay like that?
That is a good question.
It is a marvelous, marvelous hairdo.
Electricity. Yeah.
And somebody has put here a hyperlink, 705, and they've put my favorite one. And I pressed on 705, and it was David Lynch putting his hands through his hair. And I agree. That was a pretty marvelous hair swap. Let's get into the body of the film. Best 10-minute stretch. I've got mower prepping the mower. I mean, we know the premise of the film, but well, did you know the premise of the film? I presume you did.
Yeah. I've known it for a while, just from Wikipedia or forums about Twin Peaks.
And
that's it.
The first breakdown, and you're like, oh no, is this movie going to be really depressing? But I like that it gets the breakdown out of the way early.
Yeah.
And then he upgrades after going to see Big Ed.
Oh,
and,
I didn't know he was in this.
Neither did I. And he goes to see Big Ed, and he gets an upgrade to a John Deere mower, and then that threat is gone. And I like that it's pretty easy breezy. There are tensions, and there are moments where we get into a deeper something. But I love that the threat's gone. That he will make we know he'll make the journey, and it's just beautifully shot. And so I get what you're saying about the return, because I think it's perhaps obviously is a very, very focused man on meditation.
Yeah.
And I get that sort of meditative flow with this film.
Yes, yeah.
I'm sure there's people who will watch this and be bored shitless, and I understand that in a way. But it's just letting it just being completely sucked in. And I think I could watch another hour of Richard Farnsworth riding around on a mower with that incredible music and those incredible sweeping shots.
Yeah.
I have here the fire with the hitchhiker girl. Just a lovely, lovely conversation.
I wrote that down. That's beautiful scene with them talking. And about the pregnancy and about his daughter. That was...
Yeah, Rose and her daughter. Yeah, grief.
Yeah.
Sissy Spacek's in this. Then she's never diagnosed officially in the script or the film, but she clearly has some mental disabilities. Richard Farnsworth, Alvin calls her slow, or at least says that the people in the town refer to her as slow. So we can allude she's obviously got some brand of mental disability, and Sissy Spacek is pretty marvelous, I think.
She is.
And you sort of, and it's subtle as well. It's realistic, and it's a great depiction of a life with these disabilities. But it's never. I don't think she had in her mind, this is my Oscar. I'm gonna get nominated for Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah, no.
Doesn't look that way at all. I love Rain Man. Love Rain Man. And actually, I think Rain Man's a better example of it. But you watch Forrest... I mean, they talk about it in Tropic Thunder. Forrest Gump, I Am Sam. These are people going for their Oscars. And I think in the 2020 lens, when we're looking more for people to play... people with disabilities, to play their disabilities... more and more, and diversity and the like, I think you can sort of point more issues out with a Forrest Gump than you can with a straight story. And also, this isn't necessarily Rose's movie. I to say that she's second billed, and to say that Sissy Spacek is a pretty big actress herself, she's really not in it that much. I was quite taken aback.
No, she's only really in like the first 20 minutes.
And her arguably her most effective moment, she's not speaking, and she's just looking at that child rolling the ball, and you're going, oh, and you think, oh, this is a sort of childhood that she's never had, and then you get the true story behind why that was so affecting to her, and it just heartbreakingly good.
I know.
This is Lynch's first film where he doesn't have a writing credit. It was written by Mary Sweeney, who was the producer of multiple Lynch films, and his wife for a year in 2006 to 2007. They were in a relationship previous to their marriage, as well as John Roach is credited. I believe he wrote the original article that the screenplay was based on. And I was listening to an interview with Charlie Rose he did, and he was just saying how it's very few and far between that you read scripts that aren't his. Not from a point of arrogance, not from a point of thing, just from a point of reading a script that he would want to do. It's not that he hasn't read great scripts, although he does line with the Kubrick angle of a script as a blueprint. You know, scripts. Obviously, scripts can read great. You know, take any handful of incredible films, and if you read the screenplay, you'd probably have a pretty good experience reading it off the page. But Kubrick, Lynch, so dynamic, visually dynamic filmmakers. The blueprint quote is a direct quote from Kubrick, and I completely agree. All that being said, Mary Sweeney has written just a beautiful script.
Yeah, I thought it was the monologues as well. The film, just with the people that he meets, were fantastic. Like I I don't know if you want to talk about the bar scene yet.
We'll pin that for best single minute because that truly, it didn't necessarily take me by surprise.
Yeah.
But it goddamn blew me out the water.
Yeah. Me too.
Astounding performances. It shook me to my core. And we talk about that I think is a bit underrated with Lynch is his sentimentality. Is that because through the Twin Peaks lens, a lot of that sentimentality people pass off as being purely satirical and parodying of the soap operas.
He's very sentimental.
But there is deep sentiment. I mean, I've lifted it multiple times in my for my own scripts as a homage, or as some people call it, theft. The Leland line, you know, have you felt absolute pain, absolute loss? Sorry, absolute loss. Such a beautiful, deeply affecting phrase.
I mean, I can probably link every David Lynch film to Dougie, Dougie Jones, but you can't look at Dougie and say that Lynch isn't sentimental. I don't think.
Yeah, and you know, on a first watch, maybe. Well, that's the power of Dougie. Is that on a first watch, an episode goes by and you go, okay, all right. So he's playing multiple different Coopers, and then 3 more episodes go by and you go, oh, all right, and then. But by the time that you get to I Am the FBI, obviously you are overjoyed that you've got Cooper. But also, you're so sad that you've lost Dougie. You've come to love Dougie. He's like Nanny McPhee. You don't necessarily hate him, but you hate the fact that he is taking you away from Cooper time after 25 years. And but then on a rewatch, you're like, oh, this. I mean, I think Jay Bauman said it on their Red Letter Media review of The Return. He said, for me, this is the Dougie Jones show, and I couldn't agree more on a rewatch.
Yeah.
And then I have, as just a deeply affecting 10-minute stretch, the ending, the final crossing to Harry Dean Stanton's Lyle.
Yeah.
And meeting Stanton at the end.
Yeah. I'd say from when he's talking with the priest in the at the graveyard, and then to the bar, and then because I feel like he's so close to meeting his brother, but he knows he wants to do it, but he's hesitant because there is that bad blood between them.
I love that we don't get a big blowout scene.
Me too.
I love that we don't get too much exposition, that there's not this huge dynamic. Literally, Harry Dean Stanton, you could say, why didn't you cast somebody else? It's such a small role. But
no.
The relationship that we have to Dean Stanton through years and years and years of supporting character work that came to fruition in his final film before he passed, Lucky, which I've yet to see, but I'm very excited to see.
I've seen half of it.
Yeah, directed by John Carroll Lynch, no relation to David Lynch. I'm not the Zodiac, and if I was, I certainly wouldn't tell you.
Speaking of John Carroll Lynch, though, for 1 second, I don't think I've heard so many "oh geez" since I watched Fargo. Oh geez, Alvin.
Oh geez. Oh jeez. Ah, Norm, you did all that for for a little money.
But yeah, Harry Dean Stanton. Last scene, he was
when he said Alvin and his voice cracked, and you can and you don't even see him yet, and he's shouting it from the house, so it's distorted by the length from it being from the house. It's distorted. From the emotion, and it's cracking because of the effect of the stroke. He just really got me, and I genuinely had tears in my eyes.
Me too.
Tremendous. Tremendous.
Olivia, my girlfriend, came in as I was watching the last scene, and she was like, "Jay, are you okay?" because it was just so emotional and powerful. I was sat there just.
Was she not sat next to you watching TikToks, like future episode Mank?
No, she was. I don't know what she was doing. She was showering, dancing. I don't know.
Showering and dancing. These are good things to do.
Yes.
Am I missing anything from 10 Minute Stretch? I know you pitched in with the graveyard into the war stories, which we're going to talk about more in Best Single Minute.
I have a bunch of single minutes, I think. So I think
it is. No, I agree with you. It is more of a single minute episodic feature like that. Tom's weirdly specific favorite parts of the film. You've got a stricken man here. Are you stricken, Alvin? Just that sort of dry Lynchian humor. There's a real dry Lynchian single minute that we'll get to. I love a big cigar after the doctor's office. Just a great cut. And it's sort of a thing of accept, because it's also as in a way, it's a story about accepting death and accepting things before death. He keeps saying stuff like, you've got to forget the small things. It's a man realizing he's coming to the end of his life, settling debts. Because he wants to die happy, and that's a very, very, very powerful thing.
Do you know about Richard Farnsworth?
Yes. So he's dying of bone cancer. As the film's being made, he gets his Oscar nomination. He's at the Oscars. He's the oldest, still the oldest Best Actor nominee ever. There have been 2 older supporting actor nominations since, for Robert Duvall, I believe, for The Judge. Bad film, but fine, okay film. And then he obviously takes his own life within a year due to the incredible pain that he was going through with the bone cancer. And again, knowing that just brings an even deeper context. There's a scene in, I don't know if you've seen it, but Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And by the time that this comes out, Chadwick Boseman may very well have won his supporting actor Oscar. And there's a scene in that, again, we're dealing with an actor who knows he's dying. And there's a scene in it where he is waving a knife at God and screaming at God. And it's an incredible performance on his own. And I get so annoyed when, they talk about it with Peter Finch and they talk about it with Heath Ledger, when people conflate the two things and they talk about how it was boosted by their death. It's such an incendiary, insulting comment, because if Peter Finch didn't die, he would still win Best Actor for 1976. And if Heath Ledger didn't die, good God, he would still win.
Absolutely.
There's just no question in my mind. Maybe he didn't deserve to win. Maybe Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. I don't know. But he certainly would. And I think we're talking now, this will come out after, I can't remember. But that Chadwick Boseman nomination win, whatever, he's definitely going to get nominated. It's a truly, truly affecting thing. And so watching the film now with that context, and also, again, like we were talking about with Dean Stanton, talking about a context of a career that we've seen. I love Misery. I don't know if you've seen Misery. I'm like,
Misery is in
James Caan, Stephen King, Annie Wilkes.
Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah.
And I know Richard Farnsworth as the sheriff. And it's I'm your biggest fan.
That's me with David.
David Lynch. I'm going to go put up my Liberace records.
What made me decide to do the straight story? I fell in love with the script. I had heard about it because Mary Sweeney, who was my girlfriend, I'd been talking about it for 3 years. And then she and her childhood friend, John Roach, wrote that script. And I read it and fell in love with it. And what I fell in love with, I think, was the emotion in that script. And emotion is an abstraction, and I wanted to see if I could get that emotion to come out of the film.
Is that your goal when you start making film? I mean, is it to take abstractions, to visualize your ideas?
Yes, well, it's it's falling in love with ideas, and then the beautiful process of translating those ideas to film. And so it's sort of what it's all about. And it's also about going into another world and experiencing that. And that's what it's like going into a theater. It's best, at least for me, to not know anything about the film, and the lights go down, the curtains open, and you enter another world. It's so beautiful.
I'm just going to time up and pause to make more films, right?
We don't have to anymore. We're going to get another 10 hours, multiple hours Wisteria.
I know.
For years, we didn't think we'd get any Lynch.
I know.
And then we get 18 hours.
Yeah, and then we're
going to get whatever Wisteria is going to be. I really hope it's a perverted version of Desperate Housewives, because that's set on Wisteria Lane. I would be very much into that. And cast everybody again. Get Felicity Huffman out of prison. Yeah, again, that context of, he's seen them all their lives. And it's the rare case of, well, we'll get to it in Oscar Travesty. We've got that coming up. I love just typical beautiful Lynchian shot, the rain through the window, illuminating them.
Yeah, that was a beautiful scene.
Again, terrific Sissy Spacek Rose.
Yeah.
The grabber.
It's for grabbing.
I don't want to. No, that's a good grabber. I love when he shotguns the mower and blows it up.
Yeah. He just grabs the shotgun, walks through the kitchen.
Everybody's silent.
Yeah. What's he doing?
Also, I love that it blows up immediately. Maybe that's not as realistic, but just an incredible visual. The bundle of sticks as the sort of button on the end of that incredible fire conversation with the hitchhiker. Just a terrifically beautiful image. And maybe it was the Blair Witch. Maybe the hitchhiker was taken by the Blair Witch.
Oh no.
I love the reveal when he comes to the family and we find out that he's been traveling for 5 weeks now, because we've been sort of in that meditative in and out state, and there's never been a day mentioned. There's never been an amount of days or weeks, and it's like, wait a minute, how long has he actually been doing this for? And we find out 5 weeks, and we go, oh, right. Fair enough. Any weirdly specific or more general favorite parts for you, Jack?
Okay. Well, weirdly specific as in weird. I've hit a deer every week. The deer scene on the road was so random vignettes.
Can I help you, lady?
Scene-y.
No, you can't help me. No one can help me. I've tried driving with my lights on. I've tried sounding my horn. I screamed out the window. I roll the window down and bang on the side of the door and play Public Enemy real loud. I have prayed to St. Francis, St. Christopher too. What the heck? I've tried everything a person can do, and still every week I plow into at least one deer. I have hit 13 deer in 7 weeks. Where do they come from? He's dead. And I love deer.
that's the zinger. Oh my god. The entire time I was just, you know what scene I'm about to relate it to from Twin Peaks.
Do it.
We've got miles to go. He's sick. Right, that scene was so written. That scene was so written by David.
He probably edited it.
He was probably just sat there at his tent he found this woman and was like, I have an idea. You and Richard, you're gonna do a scene for me. So there's this beautiful deer, and you hit it. It's heart-wrenching.
But you love deer.
But you love deer. And then when he's eating the deer.
He's eating the deer. He's put the horns on the truck.
And the deer was watching him.
And the statues of deers watching him. I don't know where he was going, where he ended up in a deer farm.
I don't know.
But it looked like a good meal.
It reminded me of I know Ryan Johnson is a Lynch fan, but it reminded me of The Last Jedi when Chewie's eating the porg and all the porgs are watching.
See, these are the sort of this is why they need to let me interview directors, because people are going to be like, "Ooh, where did you want to take Star Wars? Where did you wrote this? Why are you subverting expectations?" And I go, "Was The Last Jedi based on the straight story?" That's what we
yeah.
need.
Well, I know the throne. This is a bit of a tangent, but the throne room in The Last Jedi was inspired by the Red Room.
Good. I'm gonna say it, and I've come into fire. The Last Jedi is by far the best of that trilogy. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm.
No, you're not.
You can get rid of the casino, sure. I get it. And
if you ever do a podcast on that film, Tom,
you'll be there.
I'll be there.
We should probably do the first 3 Star Wars films first. Maybe. I don't know.
Yes. The prequels as well.
Yeah, the prequels. That's what I'm talking about. We'll do the prequels, we're going to do them all, but in chronological order. So the Clone Wars. Soundtrack corner, you alluded to it before, but that Angelo Badalamenti, beautiful, dreamlike, sweeping score, this time imbued with a little bit of country, some nice guitar.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It might be one of my it's one of my favorites, if not my favorite.
The first thing I did was look on Spotify, and it's not even bloody there. Sort it out, Angelo.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. I haven't checked Apple Music, but I was playing it just before the podcast, and my girlfriend was like, "This is really good."
It is really good.
It is. Yeah,
it's a tremendous score. And which leads us into Oscar travesty. The film gets 1 nomination for Richard Farnsworth for the straight story, obviously. He loses to Spacey for American Beauty, because this is the year of American Beauty's, I'll call it a sweep. It gets picture, director, best screenplay. All deserving, I'd say. I mean, of all the Spacey wants to return to, it's the most problematic, because he's literally playing a pedophile in it. I can I can sort of swallow my pride and watch the other ones. But American Beauty is a struggle. In a perfect world, I'd put it in Best Picture. Certainly better than The Cider House Rules.
Yeah.
But
I put it Green Mile for me.
Yeah? I do.
I do love Green Mile.
I do love Green Mile. I need to do a full Green Mile rewatch, because obviously Shawshank is my favorite film. And the amount of people who say that Shawshank's their favorite film, and then I go, "Oh, do you like Green Mile?" And they go, "What's the Green Mile?" And I go, "Oh, right." Because it's this is what, I don't think people understand how much of a companion piece it is. And it's probably because it's the mythic and the fantasy of it.
Yeah.
But it's another prison drama directed by Brent Darabont, starring multiple people from a Stephen King story set in a 50s prison.
Have you done a podcast on the Green Mile yet?
We haven't done the Green Mile.
Okay. Right.
Oh, the Green Mile. But then Talented Mr. Ripley. I love Talented Mr. Ripley. For me, I don't understand. I talk a lot badly about consolation prizes, particularly Art Carney winning for The Godfather Part 2 over Al Pacino. That's just Jesus Christ. But this is a time where I'm like, why didn't Richard Farnsworth win the consolation prize? Because as much as it would be, he's the oldest nominee ever, let's give him an award, it's not, because it's also a great performance.
It is. I didn't know him before this, really. Besides Misery. And I don't know. It was just a really heart-wrenching performance and great story.
He's received Oscar nominations before, but he never got an Oscar. Screenplay is excellent. I don't know if it's topping any of them, I'm afraid. Best score though, let's get him in for let's get Angelo in.
Are you kidding me?
Best cinematography, no nominations. I love Sleepy Hollow, but and I'd probably say I'd give it a nomination. But I'm quite surprised actually. Emmanuel Lubezki, who famously won, I think it was 3 times in a row. Gravity, Birdman, Revenant. I think that's the first time that's ever happened, if I am correct. I don't know. But yeah, Straight Story gets 1 nomination, and it's a very deserving nomination. And we may even say a very deserving win, but it didn't win. Best single minute. So I'll let you kick us off with the scene that we keep alluding to, this war remembrance bar scene. Why don't you tell us about that?
Incredible. So Alvin ends up going to a bar. He's not drinking. He's drinking, I think, a glass of milk with another old guy who Alvin, I think, can tell that he was in World War II.
Well, he says, doesn't he? He says, I can always tell.
Yeah, he says, lots of people trying to forget. I can see it in a man straight away. And it's just a powerful scene. He's talking about drinking to forget the war, and then it goes on to talking about the nightmarish images they have of swastika. And then there's the story about the Polish guy, the scout, who Alvin ended up killing. And they're both crying. The soundtrack.
And we got the sort of whirring, sort of in the background, eventually growing of war sounds. And I know that you're a Mad Men person, so this won't be lost on you. Very, very reminiscent of the season 7 episode where Don confesses to his war story with the other veterans. And it's this thing of, there's no judgment. We all did horrible things in this terrible thing that we were forced into. Different wars, but very similar.
Yeah.
Very similar.
And when he's saying that he doesn't just remember the faces of the people that lost on his side, that lost their lives and didn't get to grow like him, but he also remembers the face of the Germans that he was killed. That scene was just fantastic.
And it doesn't necessarily come out of nowhere, but it takes you seriously by surprise. You think, it's going to be these 2 old men, and they're going to, treating him to a beer or rather a glass of milk, and just really brings home the weight of the film we're dealing with. And I love, on a lighter note, maybe it's because we love Everett McGill and we love Big Ed, but buying the mower, just very, very nice scene. Again, that needle drop of Badalamenti's score when he's driving off, and Everett McGill's staring out and he's looking at him and he's like, good for him. Even though it's the wackiest, stupidest plan ever.
So, and Alvin's like, I can judge a mower by whoever owned it. And then Ed's like, well, he's not Big Ed, but he's Big Ed. It's like, I owned it.
Like,
and then Alvin just smiles and takes it. Yeah.
Because he knows he's a good man. And he knows that it won't be too long before he gets normal.
Yeah.
That's a great line, which leads us into best line. I've got here, did you ride that thing all the way out here to see me? I did, Lyle. Just a terrific closing. The worst part of being old is remembering when you was young.
Yeah.
Very powerful. Almost thrown away.
Yeah.
Beautifully powerful, exceptionally written dialogue. That never comes off as preachy or overly written. It feels cokey and it feels realistic. It feels that it's just the wisdom of old age.
Yeah, even the way the young people react to him say it.
And they're like, there's no, you old guy. They're like, oh no, I should really take this advice.
Yeah.
And in nomination.
I got that.
Go
Wait,
on.
just going back. Wait, can I go back to Single Minute for a second?
Take it. Of course you can.
Okay, when he's talking to the brothers after they fix the lawnmower, and he's talking about his relationship with his brother, and then relaying it to them too.
And it takes you a second before you realise that it's all about brothers, and you go, oh, he's just trying to haggle down the thing because he's an old guy and he clearly is being fleeced. But then he's
moody, yeah.
But then it slowly starts moving into this brother speech, and as you say, beautifully affecting.
So many things and lines.
It's a great film. Take it away.
Right, lines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Look up at the sky, Rosie, and then there's a pause. The sky sure is full of stars tonight.
Mm.
And then obviously the opening and end credits are stars.
Yeah, indeed.
And yeah. I wrote, my Edward loved his riding mower.
Yes, that is a good line.
Yeah.
I love the woman taking the photo of him as he's walking onto the bus and then taking a photo of the mower.
Yeah.
And I also love that it doesn't turn into Forrest Gump. And it's not like,
no,
there's a man riding across America in a mower, and there's the news station, and they're chasing him, and they're like, why are you doing this? So,
I'm riding to see my brother.
Yeah. He says, well, there you go, folks. He says he's riding to see his brother. And there's just none of that. And I'm very thankful for it.
Yes.
When you watched it last night.
Right.
When you watched it last night, you did send me maybe the best line in the film. I'll let you take it.
Wait, I need to get perfect. Let me just see. What's the number for 911?
Very good. Very good.
Right, I'm becoming Mike from Red Letter Media, just relating everything to Twin Peaks. Obviously, he's Star Trek. Right, it reminded me of the start of The Return when they're trying to get into Ruth's apartment, and there's the lady with the key. It's just, I was just like, yeah, okay, this is Lynch through and through.
Pure Lynch.
It's not Disney interfering at all.
No,
this
true.
Is what I signed up for.
This is the content I wanted.
Yes.
But as much as we're being overly positive, have you got any changes? I've got 2, and one's not actually a change.
Okay, let me think.
I've got the when she hits the deer, and there's that like awkward zoom into Richard, which is interesting visually, but it's a bit much.
Yeah, it's a bit hokey.
And it feels out of place in the visual language of this film.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just rereading.
No, you're all right.
To see if there's any parts that I would have changed.
Other than that, there isn't for me.
No, there isn't. I mean, the soundtrack's fantastic. Maybe you just
release it on Spotify.
Yeah. No, I think one track was a bit overused when he was on the lawnmower.
Yeah,
but then
maybe.
it's also good.
Yeah,
So-
but can you have too much of a good? As Liberace always said, too much of a good thing is wonderful.
Yeah.
And my other change, which isn't anything that Lynch knew about or could have done, is they're called the Olsen twins.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they were named after the Straight Story.
I was thinking that when I watched it.
Do you have anything left from your notes?
Well, they're convinced that Wisconsin is a real party place.
They really are. What do these people know? That we
I don't know. They just kept on saying it.
I guess the next largest city to any small town is always a party place.
Yeah. Okay.
And
there was a. Oh wait. What do you got?
I noted. I noted that because it looked very similar to the text. Is this supposed to be a comment on Star Wars? Because the opening and closing credits are literally the same font and stars.
I don't know.
And somebody shared it on like a Film Insta thing, and I thought, has somebody like edited this to be what like his Return of the Jedi credits would be? Because his directed credit was like, oh my god, that has somebody made like a, and there were all these fish, and he showed me an Ewok.
He showed me, and I just started getting this headache. Yeah.
What I'd give, well, not really, but yes, but yes, really. I don't have anything else from my notes.
No, I just looked at the cinematographer who was Freddie Francis, and he worked with Lynch before on Dune, which I found interesting.
It feels a bit like,
you
know, okay, let's go out and let's make our own film. A few fun facts. Yeah. If my iPad works, it will work. The movie is based on a true story. The real Alvin Straight lived 1920 to 1996, living 3 further years after he took the journey. It was filmed in sequence.
Oh, okay.
Richard Farnsworth was also suffering from hip surgery in real life, and a special seat for the tractor was made for him.
Oh, that's nice.
It is nice. The film was independently shot along the actual route taken by Alvin Straight.
That's good.
It is good. We nearly didn't have Richard Farnsworth.
Oh, really?
Do you know what is? He had an objection based upon Lynch's previous work.
Wait, which previous work?
It was the use of language in Blue Velvet.
Okay, fair enough.
Several personal assurances by Lynch and the other writers that the film would contain no cursing. Did he agree to do it? Which I don't understand, because Misery has cursing and graphic violence.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, there was some cursing, but they bleeped it, I think.
I
think.
No,
yeah. When I swear. Or maybe I'm just making it up. No, I thought there was a bit where Sissy Spacek was trying to get the social security check. I don't know. I'll have to watch the film again.
Richard Farnsworth was the exact same age as Alvin Straight.
Oh, wow.
When asked why he decided to direct a movie like this, which would seem very different from the rest of his projects, David Lynch said that when he read the screenplay for the first time, he felt such a strong emotion that he decided to be the one responsible to try and bring that emotion to the screen.
Thank God.
Here are 4 other people that were offered the lead. Let's see if any of these float your boat. James Coburn, I think too gritty.
Wait.
John Hurt. I don't think John Hurt would be old enough.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Lemmon.
Oh, that's James.
That's James Coburn. Jack Lemmon, who I can kind of see, but also there's more of a frailty to Farnsworth that I think works better for the role.
Yeah, I think Farnsworth's eyes always looked like they were on the brink of tears sometimes.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And Gregory Peck, who again I think is too stoic.
Yeah.
Too sort of stoic. Tagline rundown. Here are the taglines that they used to market this film. A true story that proves a little determination goes a very, very long way. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
In life, what are the things that really matter? Again, okay. Nothing exceptional. Which leads us into Tom's big question. And I only have one.
Mm-hmm.
What's the drive back look like?
Yeah, I was thinking that the entire film. How's he getting back?
Just gets a plane. He just gives up.
Yeah.
It's a one-way trip. It's a one-way trip.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the end of the Straight Story.
Yeah.
A shorter episode, but a shorter episode for, I think, not necessarily a film that one can extrapolate much.
No.
I coined a phrase for an episode that is coming soon. There's a lot to be said for a well-made film, but there's not a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
And I think that could be commented here. But we have talked a lot. And as people tell us, perhaps too much. Perhaps your episodes are too long. So, okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But it's been a lovely, lovely pleasure. We've still got 2 films left.
Yes.
My favourite Lynch.
Yeah.
I ranked that for my article on the best films of the 2000s. I put it number 1.
Yeah, it's my favorite film of all time. So
excellent choice. And we're going to talk about that next. So get excited, people.
It's going to be a big one.
That's not going to be 50 minutes. I can assure you that.
Yeah, and then we have
Inland Empire,
which we might disagree on some things.
Oh, I don't know. We'll get there. Who knows? Another watch might bring it into a whole new world for me. But we'll be there. We'll see you. And this has been The Straight Story. I've been Thomas Carruthers.
And Jay Reeve.
And it's been a pleasure.
Dabba 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 da da ba 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 ba.